Hi, can you move? Hi, can you move? This is actually my chair. This is my chair. You can go over here. What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 53. Let's get to it. To it. Literally the most annoying way I could start an episode. What's going on, you guys? I have big, exciting news, and that exciting news is going to come right after I make sure that my camera is recording. It is good. Dude, you know how mad I would be if I rambled on for half an hour and then looked and then my camera wasn't rolling? You know who wouldn't care? The audio listeners, right? Dude, I was talking to my friend Jackie. And she's like, yeah, so I'm actually an audio listener, and you just like show off a lot of things in the video. She's like, you know, you host a podcast, right? Most people are listening, so maybe be less visual, maybe that. Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to change anything, Jackie, so you're just going to have to deal with that. Although when you listen, you don't have to look at Kevin's fat, disgusting, matted fur. See you later, jerk. Okay, so he just jumped down. Here, let me just describe the scene for the audio listeners, Jackie. So both Kevins were here. They were fighting over treats that I had put on the table because I'm a loving cat owner and they don't deserve me. So then I moved girl Kevin out of my chair, and then they were eating treats on the table, and then boy Kevin left, and then girl Kevin was in the chair, and then she come up, you know what, just watch the video. How about that? Dude, guys, I have exciting news. It's episode 53. We're doing it. The merch store is open. Merch store's open, dude. Ding, ding, ding. Come on in. Come on in. I'm cutting that ribbon, dude. I got giant oversized scissors. There's some kind of ribbon blocking my store, even though it's online. It's across my laptop. And I got giant scissors, and I'm cutting that ribbon, yo. My store is open, dude. I'm a merchant now. What are you buying? That's me. I'm walking around Resident Evil 4 in a giant cloak going, what are you selling? Except don't sell me anything. What are you buying? Just buy things from me, dude. It's so exciting. I got, again, sorry, audio listeners. I got one of the tank tops on right now. It's the Kevin logo that I drew with a Sharpie. I drew it myself. I usually can't draw anything, but like, dude, I feel like God himself like touched me on the top of my head, and then so he had like, dude, maybe he was like hanging out. No, here's what happened. Dude, he was like chatting with like Michelangelo. Kevin just ran through here so fast and loud and scared me. Up in heaven, God was like chatting with like Michelangelo, some like really famous painter, and he was like, yo, you got to help this girl out. And so he like kind of like a claw machine. I think he grabbed Michelangelo. He draws things, right? Yeah. And lowered him down to earth. And then he touched me on the top of my head. Maybe he was aiming for somebody else. Maybe there's like a kid who desperately wants to paint the roof of a chapel. Michelangelo did that. Did he? Can we just, can I double check that? Can we play me hitting Brendan with the lunchbox real quick? I'll do it.
What?
Come here.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm just as smart as I thought I was. So maybe there's like some other kid who's like, I really want to paint the ceiling of a chapel. And that's all I want. It's all I've ever wanted. And so God, like a claw machine, is taking Michelangelo and he's dipping him down into the heavens, you know, past space and down to earth. And Michelangelo's supposed to touch that artist kid and give him the gift of art. And then that kid's going to go on to paint the roof of a chapel, dude. That's what was supposed to happen. But instead, maybe the wind was really strong that day. Michelangelo just got blown too far. He went to Henderson, Nevada, touched me on the top of my head as I was sitting there with my pen and paper trying to draw this logo, and everything was just, I wish I would have saved the paper. Maybe I have it around here somewhere, of like all of my attempts to draw the logo before this one. They were just You would think a 2-year-old, like a drunk 2-year-old, was doodling these cat heads. But for some reason, in that moment, I had that inspiration. Michelangelo's ghost touched me on the top of my head. And then I drew the cat logo. And it's the greatest thing that's ever happened with a pen and paper, at least in my household. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is perfect. And then I tried to recreate it and I couldn't. I think that's when Michelangelo was like, no, wrong person. And then went to the kid who wants to paint the roofs of chapels. I think that's probably how it went. I had like this chosen one moment. Basically, I was a chosen one for just a few minutes, and that's when I drew the logo. And now the logo is on shirts. And now you can have those shirts. You can have Kevin's face on your chest like some kind of idiot Superman logo. And you're going to look awesome. Everyone's going to be like, yo, that's a cool shirt. It doesn't say what it's from, so it's not really helpful advertising, is it? That's what I think all of your guys' friends sound like. You're cool. You talk normal, but all your friends are like, oh, dude, what's on that shirt? And then you're going to, instead of me actually putting like Temperamental, Lisa Foils, it's a podcast. Who wants that on a shirt, right? That's not fashionable. You're just going to have to explain it to them with your mouth and your thoughts. You're going to have to think about what you're going to say to them. And then you're going to have to say it. And you're going to have to tell them about the podcast. And I appreciate you for that. No, but for real, chaotic energy is just in full force today. But that's the best way to support the podcast as of now. Okay, I told you guys I don't make a dime off this podcast. I don't really know how to do that. I was recently like hanging with some like really successful content creators with like hundreds of thousands of followers, and like they get so many thousands of dollars per month from what they do. And I'm just looking at them like, I have a podcast. And they're like, oh, how much do you make per month? I'm like, it actually costs me money and time. They're like, think you're doing something wrong. I'm like, absolutely. But have you seen this cool logo that I drew? Because I was touched by Michelangelo. And they're like, we're going to go find somebody else at this party to talk to. And I'm like, that makes sense. But anyway, if you enjoy this podcast, if you enjoy my chaotic energy, go to the shop, buy a shirt, buy a mug, buy a sticker, and then take a picture of yourself with it, post it, tag me so that I can repost it so I can share with the world. You guys have already been swooping them up, like an eagle during Salmon Fest, and I appreciate that. Thank you. Keep doing that. It really, really helps me. And I'm going to add new like styles here and there when the inspiration strikes. I'm soon going to be selling prints, but not the singer. I don't have the rights to him. Can't sell him. I will be selling signed prints, and I'm going to be selling those kind of like separately. Like I have to ship those myself, right? Because I'm signing them. I can't, the shirts are coming from Printful. They're coming from a third party. So if you're angry for any reason about the shirt, you take it up with them. I'm not customer service. That's their job. I'm the cute, chaotic, energetic host of the podcast. I'm the one that drew the logo. I ain't going to help you with that the customer service stuff. It's not me. I'm not going to do it. I can't help. Kevin's in charge of HR for the show. He's doing a terrible job. But yeah, we're not going to having jobs here. So if you're waiting to buy a shirt for when the prints are up on the site so you can get both at the same time, don't wait, because they're going to be shipped separately. You know what I mean? Printful's going to ship the shirts, and then I'm going to ship the prints, not the singer. And then, so they're going to be different. So just don't wait. Like if you want a shirt, just get a shirt. It's coming. But anyway, like I said, best way to support the podcast, I'd really appreciate it if you guys would do that. What's up, girl Kevin? Well, how you living? So, it was really important. Can you go over here? Your nails are really sharp and they're hurting me. So it was really important that I recorded this podcast today, because as of tomorrow, I'm going to look real scary for many days, because I'm going to engage in a some kind of ritual by skincare professionals that we like to call microneedling, which is the most horrific, torture sounding name you could give a procedure, right? It's like a cosmetic procedure, and they're like, okay, well, how does it work? Well, we're gonna take teeny tiny little itty bitty needles, and we're gonna shove them into people's skin over and over and over, so it forces the skin to break down and generate new cells to help with acne, scarring, and all that stuff. And then the other guy was like, well, why don't we call it like resurfacing or like skin smoothing or like scar be gone? How about that? That's catchy. And the person who invented it is like, no, I'm going to call it micro needling. Because who doesn't want that? Even tattooing sounds better than needling. They're doing the same thing. I don't even get a face tattoo after I'm done. I don't even get a tattoo out of it. But yeah, so that's what happens. As you guys know, I used to make videos about this. I used to have like terrible acne, terrible skin. I was on Accutane for a long time. I went through so many different dermatologists who like couldn't figure out what to do with me. I had that like deep cystic acne. Oh my gosh. It's the worst kind, dude. It's so awful. And I had to deal with it for years, and it really made me self-conscious on camera for sure. I just never knew, you know, if I booked a TV show and I had to film in 3 days, I had no idea if my skin was going to be clear in 3 days. Like, I had no idea. I was like, a new one's going to pop up. I'm going to have to deal with this. The makeup department's going to have to cover this up. It was just like a nightmare for so long. And I basically wrote myself off as a lost cause. I'm like, this is just my cross to bear. This is just my cross to bear. And this is a scene that I'm going to put in the ceiling of the chapel that I'm going to paint one day. There will be a scene of me, a leper on the ground, just like me and my cystic acne against the world. But finally here in Henderson, Nevada, I found a dermatologist who's like, yeah, I think I can help you. And I'm like, no, you can't. She's like, just let me do my thing. And she did her thing. And let me tell you, my acne's gone. I still get them, still get little spots here and there every once in a while, like everybody does. Like I have one right in between my eyes right now, around my forehead. It's like a giant one. Oh my gosh, it's like a third eye, dude. I'm so mad that it's there. Like I have to be on stage tonight at the Triple Down. I do my podcast, whatever. Who cares? We're all about authenticity. We're all about being real here. But yeah, she put me on a series of like topical creams and like an oral medication, and I'm good now. So I still have these. Hold on, my phone is going off. It's driving me insane. I gotta turn this off too. Do not disturb me right now, world. Trying to perform. So because I had acne for so long, I do have like some scars, and so the microneedling helps with that. I have a really high tolerance for pain, so I'm like, do it. Yo, shoot some needles into my face. Turn it up to 11. Let's do this. And even the esthetician who's doing it, she's like, you really want to go all the way up to 11? I'm like, crank it, bitch. Let's go. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. Super high tolerance for pain. Not emotional pain, just physical pain. I'm a wuss when it comes to emotional pain. But the only problem with this procedure is that it's so deeply like F's up your skin that you turn bright red. Bright red, and then it kind of fades to bright pink. I'm just going through like all the starbursts, right? All the starburst colors. And it's kind of like an orange, and then it fades to a yellow. Especially when you're extremely pale vampire like me, it turns you bright red. And you're supposed to stay out of the sun completely. Like you're really supposed to just like, I mean, I already do. But so last time I did this, I was super bright red and pink for like 4 or 5 days. Like I didn't want to like be on camera or do anything for like 4 or 5 days. And I perform every Tuesday. So I'm like, all right, Wednesday morning, I got to get these needles in my face. Get these needles in my face. So it's happening tomorrow. But it's funny because the last time I did it, it was right before my family went to Disneyland. As you know, we had passes. We went all the time. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to be outside at Disneyland. I got to like bundle up to protect my face that just got all these needles poked into it. So I had this like ugly hat. I never wear hats. I hate wearing hats. It's like if you have bangs, hate wearing hats. So I was wearing this hat, super ugly. Had like, obviously was like putting sunscreen on, had like this long sleeve shirt, was often wearing like a cooling cloth over my head. Just to like hide from the sun, because I don't know. I don't really get embarrassed. Like, I don't really care. I'm like, whatever. Like, okay. But the annoying part is that for some reason, while I was walking with my family at the end of the day, where you're just exhausted and ugly and tired and just over it, for some reason, that was the moment that one of the professional photographers at Disneyland decided to like scurry up to my family and like click some professional shots of us. and then give us the card and be like, here you go, you're welcome. We're like, oh, thank you. And then we looked at the picture. And I'll show you the picture and I will describe it for Jackie and the other audio listeners. Cassie, I know you're an audio listener. So basically, Sean's like upset because it's the end of the day. The kids are fine. They're just being kids. But like, look, Sean's like upset. He's tired. And then you look at me and I'm bright red. Dude, I'm Mr. Krabs. Look at me. I look like I've been caught in several fires. Like I'm a burn victim. Like I've fallen face first into lava. This is not a pretty look. And that is the moment that this professional photographer thought was like, this is it. This is the shot. This family's going to love it. And the only reason I can think of that she thought this was a good idea is because she maybe looked at me and was like, this is her last trip to Disneyland. Clearly, I should document it for this nice family who's about to lose their mother and wife. So if you look at it that way, it's very kind of this photographer. If you look at it as I just got microneedling and I'm trying to hide from the world and the sun, and you took my picture professionally with a high DPI, high pixel count, and showed it to me, that's not nice. I'm not into that. But if you're going out of your way to capture a special moment for a family that's about to lose their mom because she fell face first into lava and doesn't have a lot of time left, clearly, then that's very considerate. A little Disney magic for you. And then that kind of got me thinking, do I even get embarrassed anymore? I always get this question. If I do like an AMA and I'm like, yo, ask me anything. People are always like, what's your most embarrassing moment? And I try to think... I mean, everybody has embarrassing moments when they're growing up as a kid and, you know, whatever. But I think because I was on Nickelodeon for so long and you're just doing the most ridiculous, insane things and wearing the craziest wigs and the craziest costumes and makeup, you don't really have time to be embarrassed, right? Like, we're on the clock. This is a job. Like, all these people working on this set, this is their job. They want to get done and go home to their families. And there's no time for the child star to be like, I'm embarrassed. There's no time. No time to be embarrassed. So suck it up, Buttercup, and get out there and play an alien with a bright green face, which I did. Maybe it was blue. Was I blue or green? Can't remember. There's one sketch where like I had like a wig that was like a cube with like a foot sticking out of it, and then I was green, like super ugly, right? Like disgusting. And then that's the best part, is that you're working on all that, you're playing all these ridiculous characters, you're in this crazy makeup, and then you're performing and it's all good because you're on set and it's like theater, and then they're like, cut, break for lunch. And then they put you in bathrobes, and sometimes they take your wig off and you're just left with the crazy makeup, and it's just me and just some other freaks, my other cast members, just sitting around a table, like disgusting makeup and weirdest costumes and wigs and like silliness prosthetics, just sitting around eating some fried chicken, you know. That's mac and cheese, and a popsicle, because, this is funny. I'm getting off track, but we used to have an ice cream freezer in the green room of all that, and it had half ice cream bars and half popsicles, and this is where my love for Choco Tacos came along. Oh my gosh, they don't make them anymore. It's a freaking travesty. That's what I'm mad about. That's what I want to hear from these two presidential candidates. Who's bringing back the Choco Taco? If so, you got my vote. That's a platform I want to see somebody run on, right? Tell me about the Choco Tacos. So I would eat one like daily. That's that kid metabolism, right? Just down in ice cream bars every day, not gaining a pound. But the boys would always do this thing where they would eat brightly colored popsicles before scenes, and it would turn their tongues bright colors, like bright orange, like bright purple. And it would drive our director crazy. Poor Virgil and Steve, our two directors that we had most of the time. They were just like, oh, they would get so mad. We were just dyeing our tongues different colors. But that's what we did when you're a crazy child star on a Nickelodeon show. You do that kind of stuff. But yeah, there was just no time to be embarrassed. No time to be embarrassed. We're on the clock. Gotta go. So I think because I was in that mindset for so many years that it just made me not really get embarrassed. You know, I think when you're a kid, you're just always trying to be cool and you don't have a lot of confidence and you're just like, you know, you say a word wrong and then people make fun of you and it's like the end of the world. Like it's like the worst thing that could ever happen. But then as you get older, you realize that you got to just lean into it, right? Like you pronounce a word wrong, everyone makes fun of you. Now pronounce it even more wrong. Pronounce it wronger and then lean into it and then start pronouncing other words wronger. And then now everybody's saying it and you've started a trend. You know, you just have to have confidence. Whatever the embarrassing thing is that you have just done, you have to lean into it and you have to make it funny and go with it because then everybody's laughing with you and not at you. Although, whatever, I'm fine if people laugh at me. That's fine. But yeah, so I think that's probably why I just don't really get embarrassed anymore. However, I did think of probably my favorite embarrassing moment when I was a kid. And I will tell you that story right meow. So I was a homeschool kid, and that comes along with a lot of stereotypes, right? I was socialized enough because I was in a lot of dance classes and theater. So although I'm not sure being socialized with like dancers and theater kids was really like broadening my horizons, but whatever. At least I was around other kids and not in the backyard playing with a stick and hoop and churning butter in an apron and a bonnet. Okay, like I still had friends. I still have friends. Mostly my cats were my friends, but anyway, I digress. So. I was a homeschool child and I made this great deal with my mom that she was like, if you get your schoolwork done every day by like noon, you can have the rest of the day to do whatever you want. So you just work really, really hard for a short amount of time every day and you can start playing at noon. And I'm like, done. And I think that's where a lot of my self-motivation came from was that little deal, that little hustle that I had with my mom where she's like, you work hard and you get it done and you can go play. And I'm like, oh, this is awesome. All my other friends, those suckers have to be in school till 3 p.m., but I get to be done at 12 to do whatever shenanigans I want to do. And so one particular day, it was very sunny. I lived in Southern California in Riverside, and we had a nice house, you know, and it had a very steep driveway, very, very steep. Like too steep. The kind of driveway you can't have if you live in Canada or the Pacific Northwest. There's no ice storm is going to work with this driveway. It's too steep. It's too steep. If it was icy, you'd never get your car up there. But in California, we don't have ice and snow very often, so it worked out. That's just the way the home builder built it. We lived kind of in a horse zoned area. Like everybody had little corrals with horses and there was just hay bales everywhere and lots of orchards and trees and very, very Southern California, right? And one particular day I got done with my schoolwork and I'm like, the day is mine. The day is mine. Huzzah. I'm going to go rollerblading is what I announced. My parents are like, can you just be quiet about it? Then, yes, okay. Outside I will go. So I went outside and it's a beautiful day. And I'm like, I'm going rollerblading. I haven't rollerbladed in many years. I don't know. I think I had just newly acquired rollerblades. Like somebody had given them to me or something. But I was not like what you would call a rollerblader. I was never on wheels. And I had these rollerblades. I'm like, that's what I'm doing today. I'm doing it. So again, my driveway, very steep. But then at the top of the driveway was kind of this little NASCAR circle area of pavement where there were like rose bushes in the middle And it's kind of like the circular area. So that was my track, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna put my rollerblades on and I'm gonna practice by going around this NASCAR track over and over. I'm gonna get really good. And then all my friends that I don't have are gonna think I'm so awesome because I can rollerblade. Can't wait to tell the cats. So I put on my rollerblades and I put on my wrist guards because I had wrist guards because I was a homeschool kid. And I put on my knee pads and I put on my elbow pads because I was a homeschool kid. But I did not put on a helmet. I'm just like, this is fine. So I put on my wheels and I go out the front door and I'm kind of like I'm already going Bambi, right? I'm already going full Bambi. My legs are kind of going out this way and that way, and I'm grabbing the side of the house, and I'm like, it's fine, I got this. There's no one around, it's going to be fine. We're going to work through it. We're not going to slip and fall. I'm just catching myself on bushes and trees, trying not to grab the rose bushes, because that would be painful. I had done it in the past. It was not fun. So I'm just very slowly trying to rollerblade myself forward. In a forward motion. And it's not going well. And I'm going towards the NASCAR track of pavement, the little sidewalk that goes in a circle. I'm going towards that. And as I get to the edge of it, I'm starting to lose control. I'm trying to turn left to get onto the track, and that's not happening. The gravity of the steep driveway is pulling me with it. And I cannot be stopped. I don't know how to use the brakes. I don't know if my rollerblades had that weird nubby on the back. You remember when rollerblades had that nubby on the back and you could just like do a little heel move and then like skid to a stop? That never worked, by the way. I don't know if you ever got that to work, but I never in my lifetime got the little nubby at the back of the rollerblades to stop me in any capacity. No, it just never worked. Like, terrible design flaw. Although maybe I'm not the person to ask about that because of clearly how this next part went. So I'm starting to careen out of control. This is not good. I'm still on two legs, but I'm seeing the steepness of this driveway, nearly 90 degrees. This is looking really scary. This is not good. I'm getting pulled down to the ground. This is not good. I cannot stay on two legs and 2 feet going down this driveway. I will then go into the street. I might get hit by a car. This is my life flashing before my eyes. This is it for me. So the gravity's taking me. I'm getting pulled down. What do? I go on my knees. I go on my knees, and then I spread out. I spread out like a starfish, and I'm a starfish on the driveway, which is very steep. But I had already had momentum, so the driveway is still taking me, and I'm kind of spinning. And I'm spinning and I'm falling, but I'm belly down, starfish out, arms out like a starfish, just sliding down the steep driveway until I finally get to the bottom and I settle. And I just wait for a second. There's like birds. Chirp, chirp, chirp. Caw, caw, caw. You can hear the slight breeze and the bees and the birds. Everything's peaceful. And then I look up and there's about 7 people on an open house tour of the property across from us. And they have watched the whole thing. You know those moments in movies where like something so ridiculous is happening and to like one character, the bumbling idiot, me in this scenario, and then the other characters watching, they're like not helping in any way. They're not even really reacting. They're just kind of staring at the bumbling idiot, just watching the chaos, watching the train wreck. And you're like, that would never happen. They would go help him. They wouldn't do that. They would be like, oh my gosh, are you okay? Now I know that that's completely accurate. Because this huge group, 6 people and a realtor, watched me starfish down my driveway, settle at the bottom and just wait there, questioning my life choices for a good 30 seconds before I looked up and saw them. They didn't ask if I was okay. They didn't come over. They didn't really react at all. They just stared at me. They just stared. They stared at me. And we had a moment where I was staring at them and they were staring at me. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. I said it with my eyes. This is me. This is the neighborhood you're thinking about moving into. Just want to give you, an accurate representation of what your neighbors are going to be like. You're welcome. So then after about way too long, right? Like way too long, I'm just on the ground, just spread out like Starfish. I realized that I still have wheels on my feet. This is a problem. A smarter girl, would have taken the rollerblades off at that point and done a nice walk of shame back up the driveway to her house and then set the rollerblades on fire, never to attempt to put them on again. But that's not what your girl did. It's not what I did. You don't really think clearly in these moments where your life just flashed before your eyes and you have 6 people in a realtor staring at you. So I just kind of got to my hands and knees like an animal and just crawled back up the driveway. Just one knee at a time, just crawling back up that driveway and crawled all the way to the front door. Got myself inside my house, and I thought, that's enough outdoors for me today. That's enough outdoors. We don't need any more of that. We tried to do something athletic. Back to Neopets. Back to my computer, where I feel safe. And I don't have 6 people in a realtor staring at me because I just starfished down my driveway. Thanks, gravity. Worst law ever. So that's up there for me when it comes to embarrassing moments. I don't know if they laughed at me after I turned around and started crawling back up to my house with my tail between my legs, like an animal. I don't know if they laughed. I don't know if they snickered. But when I looked at them, they had no reaction whatsoever. Literally just like blank faces, just staring at me, watching the whole thing happen. And I scrambled to my hands and knees and then crawled back up to my house. I don't know if then they like burst into laughter. I don't know. I had tunnel vision trying to get back home. I was too far. I was scared. I was still on my property, but I felt miles away from home. And I was homesick and I just wanted my mommy. But I don't know if they laughed. And I never saw them again. Newsflash, they didn't buy the house. I don't know if I had anything to do with that or not. But they didn't buy the house. So I never saw them again. So I'm not sure that even counts as falling into the embarrassing moment category, because for me, embarrassment has a lasting effect. Embarrassment has that lasting effect of like you do something stupid in front of somebody, and then if you have to see them over and over again in your life, you're reminded of that moment over and over and over and over again. One time I was running I was done with a theater performance, and nobody was walking in the parking lot. Like, it was empty for some reason, and if I would have taken 2 seconds to look, I would have seen there were just orange cones everywhere telling people not to walk there. But in my 8-year-old brain, I'm like, why is everyone just crowding the sidewalk trying to get out to their cars? Like, just run through the parking lot. What are they doing? And I had 2 grocery bags, like 2 like big like paper bags with the handles in the middle, like when they show somebody going like shopping on like, in Beverly Hills, they got those like big bags with the little handle. I had like 2 or 3 of those in each hand. And a bunch of like the theater crew were like on the sidewalk. People I definitely knew, they were there, and I went right to run through the parking lot to my car because I wasn't here for the traffic. And then I just remember hearing Lisa, no! And then I clotheslined myself. I got clotheslined. There was some kind of twine that was like from one end of the parking lot to the other with a sign that said like, don't come this way. And I ran toward it and it hit me in the throat and I went up like a Peanuts character and I hit the ground and my bags went flying and it was definitely a Charlie Brown moment, and people that I knew had to run over and see if I was okay, and I definitely saw those people every day for many months after that and thought about it every single time. So that's an embarrassing moment. an embarrassing moment keeps on giving. An embarrassing moment stays with you for a long time. Loves you long time. So yeah, hold on, where are we at? Oh, I actually went a little long today. I didn't have my magical superpower of ending right at like 30 minutes. But you know what, guys? It's because I had way too much fun talking about my Starfish rollerblading story. It's exactly how you're picturing it. I'm not exaggerating in any way. I like to tell accurate stories. It's one of those stories where I didn't really need to exaggerate it because it was funny the way it was. It's exactly how you're picturing it. My hair was down, so my hair was flying everywhere. It was quite a scene. It was quite a scene. But anyway, you guys, thank you so much for watching episode 53. We're on 53. That's so crazy. Please check out the merch store. Just browse, just browse. Even if you're not going to buy anything, just do a little window shopping. Christmas is coming up. Maybe you'll see something, be like, oh, my niece, my nephew, my cousin, my, fourth grade teacher, whoever it is. Maybe you'll be like, hey, I think this person would really like it. Maybe you'll burrow in your mind and, maybe you'll remember it for a gift or something. But just go window shop. Go check it out. But I appreciate all your guys' purchases and your viewership and your listenership. I'm going to end now. Bye, guys. Is that Lisa Foyles from all that starfishing out of control? Yes, it was, good people. And a realtor.